Start a little bit early. We'll get through the preliminaries, and then by the time 6:30, the legal time of the meeting, we should be ready to roll. So call the meeting to order. We're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. If people would stand, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. This time, Rachel, would you call the roll, please?
Okay, Tom Hill,
Here?
Dave Nzera,
Here.
Ken Sullivan's not here, Dave Lindros,
Here.
Randy's not here, and alternate Dale Lewis.
Here. Okay, let the record show that we have a quorum for the meeting. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have our legal counsel explain anybody who's going to testify today why you need to be sworn and how that will happen. So Mandy, if you could go ahead.
When it's time and you guys come up to the board to talk about your case, please state your first and last names and your business or residential address. And I will swear you in because these matters can be appealed to court and there'd be a transcript made. So we need to make sure that everything you're swearing to tell the truth to the board.
Okay. All right, so Rachel, if you would please read case 2026-0109 BCA.
Okay. Applicant Bold Commercial Construction LLC submitted a variance application for property located at 2183 Menor Avenue. The request is from section 29.04, minimum number of parking spaces of the Painesville Township zoning resolution to allow a dental clinic to operate with 30 existing parking spaces in lieu of the 41 parking spaces required by code. The applicant states the variance is necessary due to practical site limitations and to preserve existing buffer areas and overall site character.
All right, I find no error in our zoning inspector requiring a variance for this in accordance with our zoning resolution. Is there someone here to speak in favor of the request? Sir, if you would come forward. Just explain what you want to do here.
Could you state your first and last name
Jay Sadler,
and your address?
Longview, Texas.
Okay. What's the business address here?
Uh,
We're here for
21.
2183 Menor Avenue?
Yes,
Okay. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to the board?
yes, ma'am. We're asking for the 30 existing parking spaces to operate with the 30 existing parking spaces. The functional analysis of the building supports adequate 30 spaces. We've got 6,154 gross feet. However, roughly only 2,284 square feet is dedicated to non-patient. Feel like the parking demand is calculated by functional component. The office areas generate a requirement of approximately 15 spaces, and the treatment areas generate approximately 15 spaces, which on a daily basis, they're not going to have 15 patients at one time. It'll be more work individuals than it will be patients at one time. The second variance we're asking is the dimensions confirmed to the current 9 by 20 foot, which is standard.
Wait, say that again, the second variance you're asking?
So it's not really a second variance because if you guys approve the parking as is, the parking spaces were approved and installed as they are because the size of the parking spaces are not to
To what we say in section.
to what we say in that section, right? So, I mean, ultimately, they're noting it on theirs, but the lot itself, as it sits today, was approved for the previous uses and as installed. For this situation, they just don't meet the requirements for the number of spaces. Originally, they wanted to expand, but there was no way that was gonna.
Yeah, right now the parking lot is 47 feet from the nearest neighbor, and I think the ordinance is 50.
Yeah, so the buffer it would have encroached on the buffer, which, let alone storm water, would have had issues with it, so. This is as it sits over time, obviously, it's still there, but in the nature of the beast, you know, the sun takes over, but this was 2017 when the mattress and ice cream store were proposed and approved for their layout for the parking. Because originally, there was supposed to be a drive-through, and the board said we didn't like where the dumpster was located because we didn't want the dumpster backing out onto Wellesley. So they reconfigured to the dumpster there, so the dumpster then would revert back towards the building, then pull out onto Wellesley. So this was the layout with the parking sizes, spacing as there. So if they're not adding to the parking space depth ultimately is non-conforming of there, and unless there's a major change today to adjust.
Basically, what you're asking for is about 25% variance. We require 41 and you have 30,
Yes, sir.
about 10 off. Is this a big conglomerate, this Clear Lake Dental?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so it's a corporate,
Yes, sir. They're out of Minnesota, I believe it is. And they've got like 10 or 12 up there, and they're wanting to expand into Ohio. I'm building one right now in East Lake, over by the Walmart in East Lake. I'm building one there right now. So I'll be doing both at the same time.
will this be a typical, like some of these will just be exam rooms and some will be the actual the operatories where the
Right, there'll be 16 operatories, and then like 3 or 4 exam rooms.
for dental, for teeth cleaning and
Yes, sir.
x-rays and that type of thing?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Well, you would then have 20 patients if you have 16 and 4, that's,
Very unlikely. I mean, typically they'll have 5 or 6 patients because they're not going to have 16 doctors.
how many patients, or how many employees do they have normally?
On a typical, I'd probably say about 8. I don't swear to that, but that's what I've seen in the offices that I've gone in.
One patient's coming and the next one's coming in 15 minutes early because they need to get their insurance stuff discussed, right?
Yes, sir.
So you have typically an overlap there of a fair number, right?
Yes, sir.
It seems like we're kind of cutting it close. Unless they were willing to restrict the number of patients that they would have at any given time, it seems like they're gonna have to, park somewhere else.
And I don't see that being a problem. I will say this, I am just the general contractor. I'm the one that's gonna be the superintendent over it, make sure it gets done right, done per code.
You won't be here after that.
Correct.
So the number of parking spaces they have, that's going to include their employees
Yes,
as
sir.
well?
Yes, sir.
I was up on the parking lot this morning, and I noticed it's kind of hard to see where some of the lines are. Do you have plans to restripe or to?
I will, yes.
Yeah, okay.
That's in the talks. I've already addressed it with them and told them we have to do that.
And it's also my understanding you would be occupying the entire building, the entire facility, so there wouldn't be another business connected.
No, sir.
Yeah, okay. Because right now I was mentioned there's two different addresses on that building. There's 2179 and 2183, but I think 2183 would be the entire
Yes, sir.
building. Okay,
I'll knock out the wall in the middle.
gotcha. Okay.
So you're gonna have around 8 employees, 8 patients, and probably 8 waiting, which would be 24, and you got 31 spaces.
Now we're down to 8 patients?
Well, I mean that was his example. I'm not
Yeah, but I
saying
mean, you got.
we've got
you
16 chairs,
16
but
plus 4 potential, right?
right. I haven't seen me. This is just on a personal note, not of how Clear Lakes Dental does it. But I've seen other dental offices, and typically, 5 or 6 people at one time. That's just my personal look at it. I honestly
I-
can't speak.
You know, I'm
Yes, sir.
not, I don't go to this dentist, I'm just
Right.
thinking, if you're putting a chair in, you know, in a facility there, it's gotta, what, you may know the cost, what's it cost for each one of those chairs? And it's gotta be a fair amount of money.
Pretty good.
You wouldn't think they'd put 16 plus 4 in and only use 8, for example. You know,
Looking at other Clear Lake Dental offices,
you do
I've been to a couple just to see the layout, and I've met several of the doctors and several of the representatives and everything, and I haven't seen that many doctors at one time. You know, I don't know what they're. I'm just going off what I've seen.
you know, the dentist I go to, then he has multiple dental hygienists.
Right.
You know, there's at least one receptionist and takes care of checking people in and out and writing up bills and so forth. I mean, with that number of chairs, it seems like you're gonna have a lot more than 80 employees. Would they be willing to have a restriction on that then, so that we can say, you know, no more than 12 employees or 12 patients scheduled at a time, something like that?
I believe they would.
Otherwise, what happens is people come in and they're gonna have to find a place to park, and they're gonna be parking at, you know, the place next door, or.
Well, and that was another option that that we could talk to the neighbors next door and ask them if that would be acceptable. I have noticed that parking lot doesn't get
Is that Reedy?
full,
It's Habitat
so that would be that would be an option if we can talk to the ownership there and ask them to do that if that's the case. I think that's a good possibility because the parking lot is pretty empty at most times.
I'd have no problem with this if the number of chairs were less, you know, it seems like it's.
So, to be fair to my Texas guy here, I think he just kind of got thrown into this.
Thank you.
So, it's not him. So ultimately, we've been dealing with a representative from the company, which I also don't feel is fair to her because the owner themselves, we really haven't had any contact with, but for their application for zoning use compliance, and this is not saying you don't, but employees 16 plus staff on premise at any given time.
That's a realtor.
Maximum patient customer load is 16 plus at any one time. So you're kind of basically right at 32 right off the cut. You know, in terms of car wise, right? So no shared parking standard. So that's what we've received there from. We have not approved that zoning use compliance until after today because obviously there's no point in applying for that if you're not going to get the parking, and then we're just in circles. Just a couple staff concerns, not to jump ahead, but just think about before we start making decisions or thinking about putting restrictions. So on this property, we've looked at it pretty well. Like this spot here is wonky on this last one, so I mean that would probably be like a Yaris or a smart car spot. It's not. I mean it goes into the bed type situation. There are going to be alterations that are being proposed to this building that will have to go in front of the zoning commission. And I had just received this yesterday from, the contractor itself. They're proposing on removing the door on the back side here, making it glass. This entrance here is employee entrance. And then up front would be a door, but for fire exit only. And then on the front of the building, here it looks what I believe you guys are proposing glass windowing this in and then just having a standard door here. The reason why I bring that up and my concern is when we're looking at spaces and we're start looking at now at handicap spots. So let's just say we have 2 handicap spots currently on the property. If you're not going to have 2 handicap spots in the rear of the property, those are probably gonna be moved to the front, because anybody that's parking in the rear, if they're non-staff, are gonna have to walk around the building to then enter into the front. So if we use the legal standing of a van loading zone for one, and then you just kind of, handicap, so if you have two, so you're gonna be handicap, loading, handicap, so then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, and a smart car parking up front. Then everybody else would have to park in the back. The other thing, we live in Northeast Ohio, is I'm not necessarily worried about snow mitigation at this point, because it seems like there's a lot of space, but I know how it gets on turns and then where the snow goes up front. So something to think about on that end. I would only be concerned from a zoning standpoint of if we decide to start parking on the grass, and where else we're gonna go if we are at capacity. You know what I mean? If this business were to take off fully, and they have a lot of patients and they need the full staff and they need the full cars, right? So I'm not, that's for the board's decision on it. It's an interesting layout, right?
How many staff did they say they would have?
16 plus.
16 plus staff.
16 plus. Girls. It says on the application, 16 plus staff on premise at any given time. Maximum patient load would be 16 plus, which totally irrelevant. My father-in-law is a dentist, and the chairs, obviously, they flip. So it's basically there's 2 to 3 in the waiting room while the chairs are being used. Sometimes there's empty ones just because there's not enough hygienists on there. So I don't know if they're ever going to have 16 chairs full. I could be wrong. I've never heard of this company, but I mean, that'd be crazy.
Just thinking out loud. So if we as a board were to put a stipulation on it that all parking has to be within the designated striped area, that's part of this variance, and that it's up to the business to run their business in the way that they don't exceed that. They have, by scheduling or what have you, that if patients are parking in the grass or in another lot without permission, then it's a violation of a condition that we could put on it.
Yeah, you sure don't wanna approve it with the assumption that, hey, there's another parking lot they can flow into.
Maybe you could approach some of the other surrounding parking areas with the idea that the employees could park there. And they would know how many people not coming and going, it would be for an 8-hour day, so I think it would be a better sell for them. I would expect you to do some sort of financial,
Right.
to make it work, but I just don't see how you're gonna put, 32 spots aren't enough. That's, for what they wanna do. And, right up to, you could approve it with restrictions so that you could only have so many employees and so many patients, and, but I just think that the numbers are, the math doesn't work.
So, I mean, your best contact would probably be across Wellesley at the other mattress location, just because, one, they're never full, and then at least on that situation, you'd be able to probably be a little bit closer, because it would be not beneficial for cars to be parking on the street to go to the dental office on a residential road, right? So,
Right.
I know, like I said, I know you were put in a spot to kind of show up, but in the nature of ebbs and flows on a lot of these properties here, like that's super important to the board and the township as a whole, just to make sure there isn't a lot of issues, and with, especially like the one-way and the angled lots, I think that, so.
I kind of agree with Dave, and I'll refer this to Mandy, if we can stipulate that. You'd like to have this business come to our township, but we would have to put some sort of stipulation that when they schedule, if they have 4 hygienists one day and 2 another day, however they schedule it, they cannot overschedule employees and customers to be more than their parking spaces are.
Right, and I think that's, probably where talking about putting a number on it might be better, only because then it's more clear. And then when Sean goes to enforce it, he knows what that number is, cause if we leave it up to the business to self-regulate, then if it becomes a problem, it's not black and white when he has to enforce it. So that would be the only thing, like when you were talking, no more than so many staff or patients, cause you are gonna have people that overlap.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that, and I see the snow issue, especially if the entrance is moved to the front of the building, it's gonna be. But if you are going to put restrictions on it, I suggest that you guys
Is,
put a number.
you mentioned that, the majority of the parking is in the back.
Yes, sir.
And I know the dentist I go to, they've got parking in the back, but that's for all their employees. All the patients come in the front door.
Right.
Is there you're renovating this building, is there an option to put an entrance in the rear of the building?
There's currently a door, where the small concrete pad is.
Yeah, so it'd be this door right here. Yeah, that's the rear.
Yeah,
of the
okay,
building.
that's,
For the
yeah,
handicap.
you're right, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
That is a door there, but they were gonna delete the door, but that door there, they could actually come in that door. I could redesign some things with the
I think
architect.
it should be redesigned to where a patient can come in the door and be directed to the check-in counter. To where the lady sitting at the computer that runs the whole office
Yes,
is
sir.
sitting.
Yeah, see, I don't know because and this is obviously, it looks like a break room type situation, so looking at the interiors and that's the window, cause originally when this wall was up here on this build, this was the T-Mobile / Sprint store originally on the left, and then the mattress store was there. So the ice cream store / T-Mobile store had the rear entrance, or customers could go in the front or back. On this one, the mattress store knew that obviously they weren't gonna have 50 people plus coming in at a time, so the upfront was adequate. So,
Yeah, I believe the entrance is on
So,
the right hand side.
yeah, the entrance is here, cause this
Yeah.
is the waiting room,
Right.
ultimately with what, 6?
And that's this area right here is the reception desk.
22 chairs.
Right in the right front corner there.
Right now, that area.
Yes, the reception's here, file cabinet ladies, restrooms.
Is this a typical layout of their business, is 16 operatories?
No, because right now I'm doing, 9,000 square feet, which is having 26 chairs.
No problem with parking on that one?
Not at East Lake. Not at that old Walmart, yeah. It's next to the
No.
dispensary.
It's right across the street from it.
Sean, tell me again, you were talking with the actual applicants, they said how many staff? I can't imagine only 8 staff in that whole
No,
place.
it's a 16 plus at any given time.
Staff.
So, yeah,
How do
16,
you, what's that plus mean?
16.
Yeah, it's
Means
it's
it
like
could be
saying-
more than
I know,
16.
like, and that's it, and like I said, so like in my father-in-law's office, they have a lot of hygienists. And that's just because some work in the morning part-time, some work in the
So this
afternoon.
isn't how many are working at any given, this is how many employees they're gonna have.
Just 16 plus.
And if you looked at what we allow, 40 spaces or 41,
Right.
that doesn't even seem like a lot for.
Yeah, but that's what, I mean, and I know where their stance is like in terms of like usable space type situation of like what's gonna, necessarily be there, but like when you look at dentist office / patients, I mean, that's, you have beds, right, or chairs, that's where you're getting that head count of use.
That's
So-
the maximum, 31 is the maximum parking spaces that will fit on that piece of
I
property.
think it's, that's what that's what we've accounted, I mean, like, I think Amanda went and maybe even went out and counted, or we even used this, cause the previous company has not done anything since.
Yeah.
So this is,
Yeah, I counted them today. There's 30. There's like a temporary trailer back there that's taken up 3 spaces, but I'm presuming that's gonna be gone. So there's 30 spots the way it's set up right now.
We could make all smart car parking and make
That's
everything
right.
smaller.
Carpool.
Big old carpool.
Carpool.
Motorcycle, Dennis.
And off the record, that big black truck is mine.
Oh, was it a big one? Nice truck.
Thank you.
Did you drive that up from Longview?
Yes, sir.
Oh, and it'd be helpful if we knew how many staff were gonna be on each shift.
I just think if the board's gonna look at pursuing this, I don't know what other thing we can do. We just need to come up with a number and say that if you come in and operate, you cannot schedule employees and customers to exceed the existing parking places. Because we're not gonna count on you going to the neighbors to park your customers or your employees.
And I would suggest saying they cannot schedule employees or patients, in an amount that would lead to the parking lot exceeding 30 spaces.
Right.
Because you're gonna have overlap. I don't know, somebody might have a kid and both parents meet there, you know,
Sure.
so it's not always equal.
Well, it's gonna take some scheduling on their part to make that happen.
Yeah, and the fact they're coming to us for a variance, they understand there's a restriction already. So if we're wanting to work with the business and like you said, bring a new business into the community, then putting a restriction on, you know, let the business figure out the best way to schedule their employees and the patients in a way that doesn't allow for the exceeding of the 30 parking spots. Any car that's parked outside of those 30 marked off spaces would be in violation of the spirit of the condition we put in.
I mean, it's almost, if you have 10 employees, then you could only have 10 patients. Cause the other 10 are gonna be cycling in. I mean, is that how it works, Sean, roughly?
Yeah, I mean, typically the way that they're staggered, I mean, just because you get that, you have a patient in chair, right? And then the next patient comes typically 15 minutes prior to their appointment, so they're waiting in the queue, signing in, getting insurance checked. And as that person's checking out, they're cleaning, and then the other person then gets called back and the other person's leaving. So, I mean, you're gonna have 2 cars sitting there roughly per chair. I know it seems weird, but the thing is, there's downtime, sometimes you don't fill the schedule, and dental industry is, I'm sure they would love their chairs to be full all the time, but it's not gonna,
It doesn't happen.
exactly,
I
so.
know the guy that started Hudick Dental, I went to school with him, and he said his problem, he's run into this with parking, and he's never had a problem with it. Fiorito, they have a lot of parking in the back out there on 44. And I don't think I've ever seen more than 8 or 10 cars of actual patients in there. But I'm not there all the time, just when they have to be there.
Right.
It's kind of the same with Painesville Dental, where I go, and they got a decent lot, but it's,
And I think, I don't know if it's this board's, duty to tell them how to, I don't know how they run their business. I think we just have to put a restriction, say, we'll give you the variance for 31 parking places, but you cannot schedule employees and patients that's gonna overlap, exceed that amount at one time.
I believe it's 30, because it's in terms of when you count these out.
Well, whatever the
I
number
believe
is.
you're right, it is 30.
And that's, I mean, and obviously you and I will probably have to work hand in hand on this, because those handicap spots are definitely gonna have to move up front, which the special spot, we call it here, is probably gonna be more helpful for you in terms of the get out of jail free card with the handicap spots, you know what I mean? And then you're gonna-
I can talk with the owner of the property and see if we can actually add some asphalt to
Like on
that.
there to do it, because,
make that-
you're gonna
make that
gain,
look-
should be one in the back, if you remove the lines there, right? So, I mean, it's gonna be a give and take.
Clear
on
Lake
it.
may have, once we hand this decision down on the variance, Clear Lake may have to come in and say, all right, we gotta negotiate with another property owner where we can have our employees park.
Yeah, sure.
But that's not up to us to make that happen. I think we could sit here and talk all night about it, but, I think my suggestion is we make a motion to grant the variance with restrictions on employees and patients at one time.
I mean, would you say it'd be fair to word it like okay, there's probably only 30 spots really here, cause that small spot really isn't a spot.
That includes 30. That small spot.
That was included in,
So let's say it's 29.
but it might change too when they do their messing around.
Well, whatever they come up with, let's just say rough number 30. Like, take your employees and then subtract that from the 30, and you can only have half of the patients scheduled at a time. That way, the other half are going to be able to still have parking spots and wait. Or if you, I don't know, if you make it less because of mom and dad come in different cars, like,
I think having it say that the, you know,
Any combination.
making a motion, yeah, that the variance be granted on the condition that the business shall not schedule employees and patients that would exceed the number of parking spots available.
should you say it like that, or with the half, like 50% what's left?
I just think
Or-
employees and patients, because that could vary throughout the day too, I guess, and then
Yeah.
this
There may
way,
be some days where there's only one dentist and 2 hygienists or something.
Right.
and this way, if people are parking on the street or the grass, it's a violation.
Yeah, I
Are
like,
you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. I mean, that's what it would be enforced. It would basically be you know what I mean? I would ask maybe to put the stipulation of, it's hard to say no parking on the street, but no staff parking on the street. You know what I mean? I can't stop Ted or Chris from just parking on the street, you know, just to look for like a geocache or something, right? But in the nature of the beast, you know, residents might be parking on the road, but if we see the same Honda Civic every day, and we're like, yeah, that's an employee because we're running out of spots and the people are overflowing here, right? So that's a conversation.
Well, then they would have, if we word it the way Mandy says we should word it, then they would have to go back and redo the way they're scheduling things.
Yeah.
If there's gonna be someone out there on a
Right.
constant basis.
I don't necessarily envision them getting to that point, but to even help mitigate the situation even more is if they
It may
get a
be,
contract
it may
across
be
the
that they
street.
don't even have a problem.
Right.
Yeah.
I know we're overthinking it, but we know how
Yeah.
things end up, right? So,
that's why I think that if the business really wants to come, they'll figure out a way. It's better to give them the flexibility to determine how to schedule their staff and patients in a way that meets.
Cause they know they know
Right.
the business, we don't.
Right.
Is you have anything else?
That's
Is there
it.
anyone else to speak in favor of the request? Anyone to speak against the request? Would someone like to make a motion for a discussion?
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to approve the variance with request for case 2026-0109 BZA to allow for 30 existing parking spaces in lieu of the 41 required by code, with the stipulation that the business will schedule their employees and their customers in a way that does not violate, that does not exceed the 30 parking spaces as requested.
Employees and customers.
When you get that, you can read it back and then we'll get a second, Rachel.
It's a short.
Shall not schedule employees and customers in a manner that would exceed.
Shall not schedule employees and customers in
In
a
a
manner
manner.
that would not exceed.
That would exceed
That would exceed.
you have a car.
the
truck. I'll run out and get it.
amount of parking spaces.
No, not Caroline.
Okay,
You're yours.
Kind of short, except for that one part. Allow the 30 parking spaces, but the business shall not schedule employees and customers in a manner that would exceed the amount of parking spaces. Did I say that?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so that was David there. Who seconded it?
Nobody yet.
Oh,
I'll
not yet.
second.
Okay.
All right, the motion's been made and seconded. Rachel, if you'll call the roll.
Okay, Dave Lindros,
Yes.
alternate Dale Lewis,
Yes,
Tom Hill,
Yes,
Dave and Zara.
Yes.
okay,
Awesome, thank you.
okay. You're working on, well, I don't know.
You guys aren't gonna be open within 30 days, right?
No, no,
Okay.
no, I didn't think so.
We're
All right,
good, we're good.
Okay, Rachel, if you will read,
It'll take about 2.5 months.
Okay,
Okay. Good luck. Good luck.
Rachel, if you could read case suit 2026-0110 BZA, please.
Applicant William and Yvonne Eisman submitted a variance application for property located at 913 Park Road. The request is variance relief from section 14.03A1 of the Painesville Township zoning resolution I cannot talk tonight, I'm sorry. Resolution to permit the construction of a proposed 23-foot by 24-foot attached garage addition with a side yard setback of approximately 3.9 feet where a minimum side yard setback of 10 feet is required.
Yeah, I know Aaron, our zoning inspector requiring a variance for this. Is there someone to speak in favor of the request, please? If you would come forward, be sworn in.
Yeah, my name is William Eisman, 913 Park Road, Painesville Township, Ohio.
do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to the board tonight?
I do.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I'd like to add the garage of the house. There's already, I have some pictures here if you want to see them. There's already a garage there.
I was in your driveway this morning. I don't know if you saw a red car up there.
Yeah, anybody else want to see them?
sure. Thank you.
Try to attach to the front of the garage, existing there, and that what is 3 feet 9 inches off the property line, and I'm just gonna attach right to the same line. See, now there's already a garage there. I was hoping to give the variance.
So you're already 3'9" from the property line where you are now?
Yes, and that existing garage is 3 feet 9 inches.
It's pretty much the driveway too. The driveway to get to your garage, the gravel part is about the same.
Yes,
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 okay.
yes, it is.
Got it.
Pre-existing condition.
I also have a letter from my neighbor.
Yeah, can you read that?
It's, you got it.
That's the one to the north, right?
Yes, yes, it is very good. Says, to whom it may concern, we reside at 923 Park Road, neighboring 913 Park Road. We have requested the building of a new garage. We consent to the building of this garage as long as it stays the same distance on the property line as the current garage, signed by Randy Way and Pam Way.
I like the way you got around the attached garage with the little breezeway roof there.
Yeah.
You attached it to your house.
Is the new one gonna be a little larger than it goes all the way to the house?
Right to the front of our house, the existing house.
The existing garage?
Yes, it's gonna attach to the existing garage and come out to
How
the front of
will
the
you
garage.
get into that? Will that be through the proposed garage?
Yes, yeah.
With doorway, man?
Right.
Man
They'll
door.
be blocked there, I'm gonna have to probably step it down there just so we can walk in there. This sits in there a little bit, it sits lower than the house.
You don't have to do anything with your shed in the back or anything,
Nothing.
Carol? You just wanna do this. And these kind of the plans that you submitted?
Yes, they are.
Anybody have any questions of the applicant? Anyone else to speak in favor? Do you have anything else to say?
No.
Anyone to speak against? Someone like to make a motion?
I'd like to make a motion.
All right.
I, like to make a motion for case 2026-0110 BZA that we, accept and grant the request as proposed. No restrictions.
Okay. Motion's been made.
Second.
Seconded? Rachel?
Okay, Dave and Zara,
Yes.
Tom Hill,
Yes.
Dave Lindros,
Yes.
and alternate Dale Lewis.
Yes.
Let the record show that alternate Dale Lewis has made a,
How long has it been?
I don't like it.
okay, are you looking to start on this right away?
Yes, I am, yes.
So I'd like another motion that we journalize this decision. Normally, that you wouldn't be able to start until the minutes are approved at our next meeting.
Okay.
But by journalizing, you can start right away.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Friday, you can start Friday.
Right.
I'll make the motion that we journalize
I appreciate it.
case number
Thank you.
2026-0110.
All right, motion's been made to journalize,
I'll second.
seconded by Dave. Rachel?
Give me a sec. That was second. Tom Hill?
Yes.
Okay. Dave Anzera?
Yes.
Alternate Dale Lewis?
Yes.
And Dave Lindros?
Yes.
Okay, good luck.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everybody.
All right, if someone would like to make a motion to close the public hearing,
I'd like to move that we close the public hearing.
Ooh, I forgot about that.
motion's been made by Dave Anzera. Need a second?
Second.
You
Good
too.
night.
Who's second?
Anyone want a second? The closing the public hearing?
Yes, second that.
Alternate Dale Lewis just seconded.
Making history.
Okay, Dave Lindros,
Yes.
Tom Hill,
Yes.
Dave Anzera,
Yes.
and alternate Dale Lewis.
Yes.
Okay, at this point, we'll open the regular meeting. Everyone has had a chance to look at the minutes. Do they look good to everybody? Any changes? If not, need a motion to accept the minutes as submitted.
I'll make the motion to accept the minutes as submitted.
Motion's been made.
I'll second.
No move to it.
We're gonna create a monster.
Okay, alternate Dale Lewis,
Yes.
Dave Lindros,
Yes.
Tom Hill,
Yes,
Dave Anzera.
Yes.
okay. Old business? Nothing in old business? New business? You think you're gonna have things in July?
At this rate, yes. I could be, I have no applications, but just in
Okay.
my mind.
I know I will be here in July, so when you send out the thing, if you do get some, just do like you always do. All right, so, no old business, no new business?
Were we going to change that husbandry for the chickens, for the property size? Or were-
I think we sent that to the zoning commission, didn't we? We suggested.
Tom-
It'll be Friday, that's why I said.
Oh, here,
Yeah.
here it is. Is that what you want?
So I was wondering about getting my permits. Now, do I have to go through Lake County too, or just the town?
The building department for the addition, you'd go through the building department as well.
Okay.
Yep.
For both of them, both of you and them?
Yeah, correct.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
I think we made that suggestion to the zoning commission to change that
So,
in the zoning resolution.
So, I did have a conversation with the zoning commission last night about the number of cases we see for accessory structures and for chicken wings. So, they ultimately said, okay, let's see what other communities are doing. I talked to the trustees today about it during our normal trustee meeting, and the chickens was kind of, as long as they're still screened in the backyard and like a number on them, like a normal permit, that's probably a good change, you know, just because of the way the township's laid out, like urban/rural township. So that was definitely, you know, something that I will start getting ready to make any changes to remove verbiage of requiring for under. Cause a lot of times on these smaller lots, the HOAs would say no to it anyway, so like Heatherstone, when they're active HOA, you could not have chickens, goats, miniature ponies. You couldn't have it, just what the HOA rules state, so. And then for the accessory structures, I kinda had brought up to the board last night about, you know, maybe doing like a stagger, so 875 is a lot, when you really think about it, 875 square feet is a lot, right? So if it's like less than a half an acre, it'd still be 875, because if you kinda go larger than that on those smaller lots, you're kind of really changing the layout and aesthetics of the neighborhood. But if you got from the 0.51 to an acre, you know, it would be bumped up to, let's say, you know, like 1,000. And then if you have an acre and above, you know, maybe you're at like 1,200. If you wanna go more than 1,200 square feet on a place, then
That sounds reasonable to me.
you know what I mean? So I gotta look to see what Concord allows. Matt, earlier, the law director, you know, he said, yeah, you know, certain places do certain things, so it's something we can look at. And then just do like the text change and then kind of go that route. And it's, you know, the trustees ask, well, why, what brought this? I'm going, well, this is the perfect example of how this board works, right? If you guys are seeing cases, the people are telling us they want certain things, so maybe we need to adjust our zoning, right?
Right.
So then those cases, it's not wasting your time, but if they're getting approved and if people aren't arguing and there isn't crowds here with pitchforks with it, you know what I mean? So, you know, and
Well, it's additional cost to the.
right, so we're throwing extra cost to somebody for something, you know,
Especially with that raise they're proposing to give this board.
so. Yeah, so both of those have ultimately went there and they've started the cycle now, so.
All right, did we make a motion to adjourn the regular meeting?
We did.
Not the regular, so we're gonna need to do
All right,
that.
someone wanna make a
Close
motion
out.
to adjourn the meeting?
I'll move that we adjourn for the evening.
Sure, I'll second that.
Okay, Rachel, if you'll call the roll.
Okay, Tom Hill,
Yes.
alternate Dale Lewis.
Yes.
Dave Lindros.
Yes.
Dave and Zara.
Yes,
Okay, thank you, everybody.
good meeting.
Mandy, thanks for your help with that.
Yeah, that was good.
I have Tom, lots of signatures.
Yeah, I got